There you have it, Nosifiwe Mapisa Ngabula, the speaker there, ending the presidency budget vote session in Parliament with a speech about how she wants the members of Parliament to behave following the disruptions over 2 days at different times by EFF MPs when the President was delivering his presidency budget vote. The President himself speaking a short while ago saying he found the spirit of the debate to be good. However, he's described as unfortunate the disruptions that happened. I've got my colleague Lindsay Dentlinger who was watching all of that. She's live to us now in Parliament shortly. The President is going to be addressing the media. Lindsay, we don't want to keep you waiting long before you walk to the venue where the President will be addressing the media. But just take us back to what happened earlier today in terms of the disruptions in Parliament. And what did the President have to say as well about the theft on his farm, the now famous theft of millions of dollars?
Dan, I'm quickly going to step away so that you can see MPs now leaving that venue. They've been here since 10 o'clock this morning when the President was expected to reply. And as you've mentioned there, several hours of hold up, an hour-long break while EFF members were removed from the venue because of the disruptions that they were causing and not wanting to be addressed by the President. And it wasn't until they were all removed from the venue that the President could finally reply to that marathon debate of yesterday, and the President taking great care and caution to single out every one of the parties who spoke and the issues that they raised with him. But Dan, that issue that everybody wanted to hear, whether the President was going to respond to the DA's John Steenhuisen yesterday saying it would become Cyril Ramaphosa's Nkandla if he didn't respond to these allegations and all the developments that have erupted around his personal farm. The President, right off the bat, addressing that issue, but unfortunately we didn't get all the nitty-gritty and all the details that people were hoping to hear. Instead, the President saying that he had taken legal counsel on this matter, that law enforcement agencies were investigating, and for those reasons he was not going to get into the minutiae and all the little details that people are chomping at the bit to hear what exactly went down and whether indeed all these allegations swirling in the public domain are in fact true. But Dan, let's take a listen to the President himself responding to all that was said yesterday in this House about the pall that this issue would cast over his presidency if he didn't come clean.
I have listened, Madam Speaker, very carefully to the views of a number of members of this House who have raised thoughts, suggestions, and proposals on this matter. Some of the views have been to cancel me, and yet others have been laced with insults. I will not respond to insults. I should, however, say that the counsel and suggestions that have been made raises points that indeed I should consider in the face of the advice I have that I should not be responding to speculation, conjecture, allegations, or even so-called revelations. I will give all these matters consideration against the backdrop of the advice I have that this matter should be ventilated in the proper and appropriate forums. And I repeat that the law must take its course and due process should be the order of the day in this. And as a result, I will not right now be responding to all these matters that have been raised around this.
One would assume, Lindsay, that stance the President has expressed there of having taken legal advice from his legal team not to comment on any sort of anything about the Phala game farm dollars and whatever else, will be taken into the media briefing as well. I mean, I was hoping that you and our colleagues in the media might get more out of him, but the chance of that seems very slim at this stage, judging by what he just had to say in that bite we played from earlier on in Parliament.
Well, I can assure you, Dan, it won't be for the lack of trying. I understand my colleagues have been strategizing and taking this engagement very seriously as to what they hope the President will respond to this afternoon. We heard here in the House that the President said he was never one to shirk accountability, and despite the criticism that he won't be answering questions in the House during this term before they adjourn, the President starting his address this afternoon, naming the number of times he's been before this House to answer questions. And so if he's going to live up to his claims that he doesn't shirk accountability, he will be sorely mistaken if he thinks, I think that media houses are going to let him get away with not, and they will probably be pushing him for more, despite what he said here, despite that legal advice that he says he's taken, not to get into too many details while this matter is under investigation.
Yeah, another big matter today. I'm going to let you go shortly, Lindsay. Another one is a breaking story that we have at the moment, the crawling down at the bottom there of the screens about the suspended public protector, Busiswe Mkhwebane, issuing a statement a short while ago saying she's going to challenge her suspension. So that ongoing tiff, if you may want to call it that, between the public protector and the president still ongoing, although he suspended her yesterday. One would wonder if his views will be canvassed, what his thoughts are around this whole matter of the suspended public protector.
So, Dan, the timing of all of this really was quite interesting. But just in reference to your first point, I mean, today the Western Cape High Court judge is saying they took a very dim view of the public protector, repeatedly trying to come back on the same issue that has already been ventilated in the courts and on which there were already judgments. And one would think after today she even had a cost order in her personal capacity, in part, I might add, not the entire cost of that litigation that most recently was heard in the Western Cape High Court, that she might be a little bit cautious about keeping on returning to court on the same matter. And the court saying today that we really have to respect the finality of judgments, especially as it concerns constitutional court judgments. But Dan, I can tell you that within the next 10 minutes or so, the ad hoc committee here in Parliament, which is tasked with conducting that Section 194 inquiry, they are due to sit this afternoon to map the way forward as to how this inquiry will unfold. And I think they'll be bolstered by that judgment handed down this morning. Once again, they find themselves in this position where the court has ruled that there are no legal impediments for Parliament to proceed. In fact, Judge Nathan Erasmus said it would impact on the public interest if he were to interdict Parliament from proceeding with this inquiry. It would impact on the separation of powers. It would impact on Parliament exercising its oversight and holding the public protector to account. And so this afternoon we expect that committee to map the way forward. We know that they've already indicated the beginning of July as the start of this inquiry. And as I say, today's judgment, the suspension by the President of the public protector, no doubt will give impetus to get this ball rolling more than 2 years in the offing, Dan.
Yeah, and then in the meantime, Lindsay, as we let you go to go and get ready for the media briefing with the President, she's also going to the African Commission for Peoples and Human Rights, and where she's suing this government for 50 million rand because she says her human dignity has been violated throughout this whole process. Thank you very much, Lindsay Dentlinger. We'll leave you now to go and get ready to be in that tete-a-tete with the media and the President this afternoon after the termination or the conclusion following disruptions in Parliament of the debate on the presidency's budget vote. Now, Lindsay Dentlinger joining other colleagues there in the parliamentary precinct where they're going to be engaging with the president shortly after the budget vote in Parliament. Lots of questions, including, of course, that breaking news story around the public protector. She's saying she's going to fight her suspension. She was suspended yesterday by President Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa in terms of that section 1943A of the Constitution, and Parliament itself this afternoon set to proceed after the Western Cape High Court this morning dismissed again another application by the suspended public protector Busem Kobane to stop the entire process. We're going to have to wait and see what happens now going forward. Okay.